And we are back at 7:35 a.m. to Dave King and Matt Martin here in the mornings on KFYO. And as promised, always Johnny on the spot, Eddie on the spot, Eddie McBride, CEO of Lubbock Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, Edward.
Dave, Matt, good morning. How are y'all?
We're great. And we want to continue on our conversation. I was going to make the point that I have not seen, I cannot recall a time, I guess it was yesterday, when we were talking about the Lime scooter.
Bird versus Lime.
Yes.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine you can't imagine how angry so many citizens are that Texas Tech gets to choose was it vendor? Would that be the correct?
Sure, absolutely.
Which they chose Lime, and the city then is going to follow suit, whatever Tech chooses. And
well, and I'm a little bit. I have not talked to Wood Franklin. I haven't talked to Jared Atkinson, the folks downtown at City Hall that'd be overseeing that, or the mayor of the council. I haven't talked to him because I know what was apparent was that if what you read in the paper is true, which I do believe is true, then the Lime folks are actually talking to the folks on campus before Lubbock actually got ambushed by Bird. And there's nothing the matter with saying that they ambushed us. They came in without any pre-knowledge of their activities, without getting any approval whatsoever to operate, and all of a sudden Bird just showed up one day, not too much unlike how Uber showed up in Lubbock. And to be able to do that, obviously the city has to react.
Well, but they didn't break any laws by doing it. There were no statutes on the book. They kept their scooters where they legally could put them. I mean, the fact is that I think that if from someone who's a capitalistic kind of mentality, that's what they did. They came in, they said, okay, well, we have no laws, we have nothing on the books. Let's throw them out there and let's let the people use our scooters.
Well, I think, when I say ambush, that was the term that was actually characterized in the paper. I didn't mean that they came in illegally, although they came in without approval. Now, you got to remember that the same thing that Uber did not have any license to operate in the community, and so they had to work through the wherewithal to do that down at City Hall, and it took a while to do that.
They're still here.
And
they can't go on the Texas Tech campus, but they're still here.
Yeah, they can go on Texas Tech campus. Who said they couldn't go on campus?
I was told they couldn't.
Who?
Oh, sure they can. Yeah, sure they can.
Campus.
Sure they can. I understand that they actually take some students from their dorms to class. Not that I know that to be firsthand knowledge. I mean, that was an Uber driver who told me that. But, they're licensed to be able to go on campus. I mean, I don't know what all the rules are from the campus requirements, but if they have changed that rule, I'm not aware of it.
All right. Well, we've got Uber drivers that listen, and I'll just if you're an Uber driver, just tell us because we've had them say on our text line and otherwise and call us and say that they can't drive on campus.
Well,
they're not.
I think
they
Uber,
cannot. They're not allowed to be on campus.
I think they can.
Oh, you mean from the Uber side? Okay. Well, I didn't. I mean, all I know is that Uber, when they came into town, was not too much unlike when Bird came into town. Is that the city was not ready to obviously protect the citizens. The reason why we have a city government is for them to protect us. And I think from a transportation perspective, I think what the ropes they had to jump through to ensure that someone was going to be legally operating in the city, I think they had to. I thought they reacted correctly. Now, what the relationship between Texas Tech and the city was when it comes to Lime, I'm not aware of that, and I don't know how that actually came down. Now, is that strange? No, I don't think that's strange. I think that that's an opportunity that maybe Lime talked to both the university and then also talked to the city. I would imagine there were some conversations before all this came down.
Oh, of course there was. But I just have not seen a time when the citizens are so riled up about the way this went down. And mainly it's because the city is allowing Texas Tech to make decisions for the city.
Well,
and they're angry that what's the big deal? Why not let capitalism reign and let's have them both there?
Well, you might be able to drive down prices that way.
I cannot help but think that at some point in time, if Bird really wants to come back and try, they'll try to come back into the community, and that is a very economic freedom sense of operation where Bird then tries to come in and compete with Lime.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I started paying attention now. In fact, I was out on the campus not long ago, and those little scooters are just zipping by everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're even – and I was making a comment, I think yesterday or whenever, that I didn't see the citizens of Lubbock using those things, but I'll be darned. They're being used here in Lubbock.
Oh, they
and
were
particularly
downtown.
Downtown.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
I saw them downtown in the Overton area, so there was a lot of other areas outside the campus. Now,
Which again, though, why would you, if other people besides people on campus are going to be using them, why would you, in the city of Lubbock, force only one company to be able to work? Because you're literally saying you have to get you have to get a contract with another higher education institution. So could they go to LCU? Could they go to that? But the people in those areas aren't going to be using them. It's the people that are going to be in downtown that are going to be using it. It's the people that are in the Texas Tech area that's going to be using it. And so the city says, well, only those that have higher education.
Well, I wish we could. We haven't talked to any of the folks from Byrd or Lime, either one. They certainly didn't come to the chamber and ask to get our support or assistance in talking about this as well, like Uber did. Now, Uber did. We actually got drivers, both limo drivers and taxi drivers. We got everybody that we could together to talk about that so that we could help work with the City Hall folks.
So we have a question here.
A texter asked the question, Eddie, has Lime or Byrd joined the Chamber of Commerce in Lubbock?
They haven't talked to us as far as we know. We haven't known anybody that we could reach out to as well. So it's one of those things that, Uber reached out to us when they came to Lubbock. Yeah. And so I thought that was, I wish Lime or Byrd, either one would have reached out to the.
And this is another text. He says, this is one of the most conservative cities in America, and we have a mayor who thinks capitalism and entrepreneurship is a disease, and a city council and university that demands kissing the ring. Oh, okay. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about something else. That's enough on Lime and Byrd. Okay, back with more. And we are back here on KFYO Mornings. Dave King, Matt Martin. I've got email from Haley Wells. You know Haley?
I know Haley.
Okay. Well,
I know Haley well.
Haley tells me that at 12 and 12:30 today there's going to be a ribbon cutting for a new Family Smiles of Lubbock, a new dental practice.
Yes, sir. New chamber member. That obviously we do a lot of ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings for small businesses when they open up their businesses. What a great opportunity to recognize these businesses and the passion and the investment they make not only in their business but in our community. So we're very proud to have an opportunity to participate in these in these ribbon cuttings.
Well, let's talk about the Chamber banquet honoring the 2018 20 Under 40 award recipient.
Tonight.
Keynote speaker will be Bryce Foster from First United Bank. And location will be at the Elegante Hotel and Suites.
MCM Elegante, yes, sir.
And we don't want to forget Rob Snyder is
He's going to be one of y'all's very own. I hope that y'all are coming out to celebrate Mr. Snyder. Congratulations to him and the other 19 of the folks who got recognized. I think it's young professionals in Lubbock need to have this recognition, I think, from the purpose that, if nothing else, it shows these young professionals who are obviously not only starting their careers, but obviously in some regard, there's business owner-operators that are in this group as well. So we are very proud on behalf of the business community to represent the business leaders of not only our future, but of today as well.
Mm-hmm. It says registration for this event is closed.
It is closed. Yep.
If you have the max.
You got to know somebody to get in.
Oh, boy.
You got to know that there's an empty seat at some table somewhere. So if somebody really wants to go and to congratulate Rob Snyder, let us know. We'll try our best to get them in.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I introduced you again, but we are talking to Eddie McBride, who's the CEO of the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce. What's new at the Chamber?
Oh, well, last week we also graduated our 2018 Leadership Lubbock class. So that's another great opportunity for the programs that we do on behalf of the business community. So the Leadership Lubbock class had a great graduation last week, and so obviously the new class starts in January. And so we're getting ready to really poop up for y'all. Don't forget people. I keep on having this conversation. People don't realize that Thanksgiving is next week.
That's right. A week from
Thursday. So the Saturday after Thanksgiving is Small Business Saturday, and we really thank the City of Lubbock City Council, the mayor, and the council are going to be passing a resolution in support of Small Business Saturday. And again, our role in this is to do what we can to make people understand how important small business is to our communities across America. And so we'll have a news conference next Monday to recognize small businesses in Lubbock, and we're going to be at the Matador on Monday morning at 10:30. And to have a news conference to celebrate both Small Business Saturday as well as to get everybody to remember that they need to support small businesses in our community. And the Saturday after Thanksgiving is a great time to do that.
It absolutely
any
is.
time's a great time.
The Friday after Thanksgiving is Black Friday,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's one of the was traditionally the largest retail day of the year.
Yes, sir.
And that's something we need to keep in mind. We certainly do. We talk a lot about Amazon. We were talking about them this morning.
Yep.
And about them building new headquarters
Getting
out
ready
in
to-
Washington, D.C. and New York, and kind of a thumbing their nose at the people in the middle of the country. But anyway, online is certainly taking a big chunk out
Sure.
of the brick-and-mortar stores.
Absolutely.
Time for people to, remember that and get out and support these stores.
You're absolutely right. Smoking like a true small business owner.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take the break. We'll have a few minutes when we get back to talk about other things.
And we're back here at 7:55 on KFYO Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. And with us this morning again is Eddie McBride, the CEO of the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, and Dave, Matt, thanks again for letting me come on. This afternoon we have a 2 o'clock news conference that we're going to be talking about our Persuader settlement. A couple of years ago, during the previous administration, they passed language that would allow, obviously, when someone was trying to unionize in a business, and a lawyer actually came in to help prepare the management, the CEOs and the owners of the company for how to work with this new unionization attempt. They had tried to pass a law that any time that would have happened, excuse me, that the lawyers would have had to have gone through quite an egregious amount of information sharing about that. And so we actually did a lot of work with Fernando Bustos here in our community to help fight that. One of the we had 6 different, either as plaintiffs or as friends of the court or whatever, against federal overreach with all these regulatory burdens. So we actually get to announce today the settlement in exactly, which we're very proud of the fact that we are one of the few chambers across America that actually participate in any federal lawsuits, even as much as 6. But today we get a chance to announce that, which we're very proud of the role that we got to play.
We have a texter this morning, and I didn't get to his text earlier. He texted us much earlier this morning about the downtown, and he says, please ask Eddie about the downtown PID tax, the PID tax.
It's not a tax, number one. So
0.18% on your property.
It is, but it's a voluntary assessment. So it's an assessment, not a tax. Now, when is an assessment not a tax, and when is a tax not an assessment? I'm sure that's what folks are going to say. But it's one of these things that the the Improvement District is asking everybody to help participate so that they can use that money to improve where they live or conduct their business.
But this is downtown.
This is downtown
now,
PID.
You could clear something up for me. I don't know if we have enough time right now, but we can get to it after the 8 o'clock break if we need to. We pay Albert McDougall, the McDougall Company, a lot of, I don't remember how much it is. We pay him to develop downtown.
As the master developer.
Yes. And there's a lot of people who are somewhat annoyed about that. They're not seeing enough progress down there. What's the status with development of downtown?
There's a lot of independent over the years. The McDougall, if you follow the downtown redevelopment process, one of the things that's so difficult, there's a lot of facilities, a lot of buildings that are owned by tax-supported entities. So whether it be federal, state, or even the county and the city, there's a heck of a lot of buildings in the area that is tax-owned. So it's very difficult. Obviously, you don't get a lot of tax support from that because they don't pay property taxes. Yeah. So that's a very difficult proposition. And I think the McDougalls have done a great job. They have kept up, they've done whatever they can to help improve downtown as well as to bring new businesses to downtown. Lubbock Economic Development Alliance and Market Lubbock have done a great job at bringing about new development downtown as well. And a lot of folks have come downtown on their own, like Centennial Bank, for example. So obviously, there's a lot of very slow development going on downtown.
Well, of course, we have that massive new Buddy Holly Theater.
Buddy Holly Hall.
Oh,
boy,
wow,
look
that
at
thing
that's
going to be state of the art.
It will be, and I think in and of itself that'll be an attraction for a lot of folks to consider moving downtown as well.
I think you're probably right there. Regular Dykes made a huge impact in downtown,
they did.
And who knows what the future is there. It's not looking really too good.
That is sad. I'm sorry to see that happen.
Yeah, that's a big impact on Lubbock's economy.
Yes, sir.
Well, we are coming up here on the 8 o'clock break. Let's hold you over, Eddie, because I know we've got more things to talk about. We burned one of your segments talking about the scooters at Tech in the city, of which the chamber is not directly involved in.
No, sir. No, sir.
So don't get mad at Eddie about the scooters. Okay, back with more after this. And we're back here at 8:07 a.m. on KFYO Mornings. And again, holding Eddie McBride over from the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce. We burned one of your segments talking about the scooters, which you have nothing to do with.
Well, we would have been glad to have been involved, but I think just like some of your listeners are complaining about liking to have the opportunity for competition, we thrive on competition. We thrive on capitalism, and we call that economic freedom. And, just to conclude that part of it is, if we'd have been asked to get involved, we probably would have fought for Bird. We probably would have fought for Lime as well.
In fairness, I think the city has said if Bird wants to participate, Matt, now tell me if I'm right about this, they'll have to go out and first get approval to be on the campus of another university or college.
They have to go to LCU or one of the other campuses, because Texas Tech's already said they're only allowing Lime. And so they would have to do another campus. But again, there's no other policy in the city of Lubbock. I know, but there's no other policy in the city of Lubbock that says that a higher education institution has control over that policy in Lubbock.
We're getting off on this again.
Well, y'all need to get clarification. You need to have Jared Atkinson down and talk to them about it, because I think that's where you're going to get the best information from, not from me.
Yeah, that's true.
So I wanted to remind everybody what the Chamber did as far as recognizing former Chancellor Bob and Terry Duncan on November 1st. I thought we had a wonderful turnout of folks to both recognize the Duncans for the role that they played in West Texas, since he was both the lawyer here as well as a state representative, state senator, and then as he concluded his time here in Lubbock as being the chancellor of Texas Tech. And Terry Duncan, what a great role that she played in the community as well. So I think it was really nice to have the folks. We had about 400 people show up, and I know the Duncans really took the chance to thank a lot of people for their time in town. So we're going to, on November 29th, we have our annual awards meeting, and Chancellor Duncan is going to be our guest speaker that day. So we get to recognize all of our award winners, and I'll be pushing this more as well. But our award winners are the reason why we're doing it. But Bob Duncan is going to be our keynote speaker.
Yeah. And the Duncans have moved off to their home in Horseshoe Bay?
Yeah, they have a home in Ruidosa, but they're going to build in Horseshoe Bay, is what I understand. And so, but that'll make him closer to Austin. We need his help down in Austin, especially because, when the Chamber goes to Austin and fights for what we think is important in Lubbock, we'll be fighting for the vet school. We'll be fighting for the dental school in El Paso, the vet school in Amarillo, the dental school in El Paso, and then, of course, the mental health institute that they've created is going to be extremely important for us. And I think on behalf of the business community, I know some folks were complaining about, why would we support a Texas Tech vet school in Amarillo, a Texas Tech dental school in El Paso? It's the Texas Tech University system that I want to remind people that is housed right here in Lubbock, Texas. And anything in Texas Tech is the largest regional economic engine in West Texas. And anything that we can do to help them grow, obviously is going to help our economy and our community grow as well. So we're very supportive of what Texas Tech is doing, and really applaud Chancellor Ted Mitchell, and what President Skuvenik has done as well with the university. It's one of the best relationships that I've seen between town and gown since I've been here. So,
well, I have to say, as many years, decades as I've been in Lubbock, the growth of Texas Tech has been phenomenal. I think a lot of it is Chancellor Hance.
Yep.
Predator.
Started with Montford.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's just been incredible, the explosion of growth, and we're pushing 40,000 students. I mean, this is turned into a major university.
Yep. And I think the importance of that, as far as the vet school going into Amarillo, is the fact that it's been such a hot potato. And I think both in the legislature, the what going forward, I know it even played a role supposedly in the speaker of the House race, as far as Dennis Bonnen out of Angleton, who's I'm hoping to heck that he understands the importance of that particular institution to Texas, as opposed to just West Texas. I think we'll be doing whatever we can on behalf of the business community. We have quite a few other issues that we'll be looking at the state legislative session, anywhere from education to transportation to all sorts of regulations, so again, to try to fight against burdensome things that could hurt business.
Yeah. So, Eddie, what's next up with the chamber? Could we have another barbecue?
Oh gosh, we'll have another barbecue. Thanks for bringing that up. We had a good time out at the fairgrounds. I think that worked extremely
Was it a
well.
record?
We don't have a good head count, but every year it grows. So I'm pretty much convinced that the fact that downtown last year it worked well, but this year being out at the fair, the logistics and everything was just so much easier, and so I think we had
Eddie,
more
it was
people this
enormous.
year.
I was just stunned at the. It looked so much bigger than when it was downtown to me. But I mean, that thing, they were just. You couldn't stir the people with a stick.
Well,
they were thick.
From what we've heard of everybody had a great time. So that's what's important. Is that what we do these things obviously for both the businesses that participate on the cooking teams, or what other booth that they might have had, allowed them the chance to meet both themselves as well as new people.
What's next up for the chamber? What's the next event?
The biggest event is, again, the November 29th annual meeting. And I think from that perspective, we're got a business after hours as well on that same day on November 29th. It's going to be at the American National Bank. It's going to be at their 19th Street location. So, again, a good friend, American National Bank, getting really, November 29th kicking off. That's our kickoff of the holiday season, so we like to kick it off in late November for an early start there. But I think what's going on next is getting ready we talked about our next Leadership Lubbock class. Our Young Entrepreneur Academy is about in its fifth or sixth week, and what we're doing is we're teaching students in between the age of 11 and 18 how to become their own CEO, not only create their own business, but to create their own jobs. And it's been a very successful program. This is our third year, and what we see is these just remarkable young people. I mean, it's just amazing to see the changes. They come into the class, and the first thing they do is they start trying to develop their idea, and then they actually develop a way to launch it, and then they actually go to an investment panel that they can actually get money to invest into their business. So it's like a Shark Tank. And then
but this is how long?
It takes 30 weeks.
30 weeks, and you're in the middle of that now.
Well, just in the first phase of it. It goes 10 weeks, 10 weeks, 10 weeks.
You can't get involved in it now.
No, it's too late.
But you can, I suppose, in the next term.
The next term will be starting in May of next year to recruit for the next set of classes. And so it's a really neat program that these kids, I mean, you see them grow right in front of you. They can't even barely talk to each other when they meet somebody for the first time. And then by the end of the program, they're getting up and giving a 6-minute speech or a 3-minute speech about their business.
Yeah.
And it's really helpful in that regard. I really am proud of the kids and the program that we've had. So that's a fun program. Y'all need to come out and see that if you ever have a chance to see those kids.
That's something TV ought to do. Well,
Yes,
Eddie,
sir.
our time is up, man, and again, we appreciate you coming out. You always share some interesting information with us and our audience.
Well, thank you for letting us come, and especially to carry over. You want to talk about Bird and Lime again?
Yeah,
Matt's grinning.
We'll get
Matt
some.
wants to take it on.
We'll have our facts better in order next time. Eddie, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job at the chamber, bud, and we appreciate you. 8:16 here on KFYO Mornings. Dave King, Matt Martin. We'll be back after this.